Hi, this is Purple, and welcome back to my channel. This is part 2 of my Belize trip. If you haven't seen part 1, go back and look at part 1. It kind of left a little bit of a cliffhanger because we experienced a medical emergency. My sister got sick. It's good to be back home. I'm back home in Mexico. My sister is back home in the States recovering. Without giving too much of my sister's personal information, while we were at Nadia Resort, my sister experienced and suffered from how do I say it, a life-threatening medical emergency. And when we went to call the ambulance, we were told that the ambulance was 45 minutes away. The nearest hospital was an hour and 45 minutes away. So the Nadia staff put my sister in one of their transportation vans and transported us to the nearest hospital. The nearest hospital happened to be a Southern Region hospital, and it was a public hospital. If you have never experienced a public hospital in a third world country, it's a bit outrageous. All right. It's outrageous due to expectations you may have coming from someplace else, whether it's Canada, Europe, the United States, even Mexico. I was not prepared for what I had experienced. Now, I have dealt with hospitals in other countries, Mexico, Liberia, but this was the first time I was up close and personal. So, the hospital was Southern Regional Hospital. I'm looking at my notes because I don't want to forget anything. And it's run by the government of Belize. So Belize only has 400,000 people. The resources at this hospital was sparse, to be generous. There were like no soap, nothing to wash the patient down with. We used gauze. They didn't really use gloves. I was always afraid of secondary infections. All of that being said, let me back up. All of that being said, they saved my sister's life, right? For all of their lack, they were able to save my sister's life, and I couldn't do it. So, excuse me, I'm sorry. They gave her the medication she needed, and I tried to get her medevaced out to another hospital, but she wasn't medically stable, so she had to at least stay overnight while they stabilized her. Now, if you've never been to a hospital, a public hospital in a third world country, you would know that when you walk in, you don't walk in alone if you're the sick person. You walk in with a family member or a friend because your care depends on that person. So I provided all non-medical care for my sister for the duration of the time that we were there. All things. They came and gave her IVs and medication and took her temperature and vitals, but I took care of everything else. Because Belize was such a small country, they don't have a lot of senior medical trained citizens. So they get their senior medical staff from places like Mexico, Guatemala, other countries. They come in. And the gentleman that I thought while I was there was the medical doctor. I found out later that he was a nurse. So when they admitted her to the hospital, they took us to a ward. It had 8 beds in it. There were 5 other patients already there. She was the 6th patient. On the floor next to each of the beds that were hospital beds that were occupied was a person laying on a pallet that they had made. And that's where they stayed. Now, I wasn't going to lay on the floor, so I sat in a chair all night while I made the plan, and they rendered aid. The nurses, Nurse Flowers, shout out to you. Yes, it was an experience. So the next day, I devised a plan to have the ambulance come pick her up and transport her to Belize City, to Belize Healthcare Partnership. I had looked them up. They were an excellent facility, and I felt confident that they would be able to provide the care that at a standard that I required. And they did. They surpassed it. I was so surprised, pleasantly surprised, because I had just went through like 18 hours of uncertainty on if I was going to be able to bring my sister home. Now, it's good to have travel medical insurance, but basically that's so you can get reimbursed when you get back. While we were on the ground, everything that we had done from the ambulance ride, we had to pay for up front. When we got to Belize City at Belize Partnership Hospital, I had to pay with her credit card, of course. I had to pay upfront a deposit on what they thought the expenses were going to be the next day. And every day, a person from billing came to visit us in the room to get what hadn't been paid from the day before and the estimate of what was going to be paid or what was going to needed to be paid for that present day. So that happened every day. Before you're discharged, you also have to pay. All of your bill. That's non-negotiable. In the meantime, I had to navigate for Nalio, which is now a 3.5 hour away, to pack up all our belongings, and they were so gracious. They brought them to Belize City. As a matter of fact, they sent a representative to help me and assist me. I can't say enough about them at that resort. They were really a ray of sunshine on a dark day. Another entity that was so very helpful was Oddly Travel. That was a travel agency that we used. It's really important who you use for a travel agency. So I'm in another part of Belize that I had not expected to be on at that day. They found me accommodations. They took care of it. Of course, I had to pay, but they made the transition easy, right? So when my sister was discharged, she couldn't fly on a commercial flight for 48 hours. She had to be symptom free. So we spent a couple of extra days in Belize, and we did low-key things because she wasn't staying in the room. No matter how I insisted, she may be my little sister, but she thinks she's the boss. So I chose peace over being right. And I just, made sure that she had a wheelchair, and we went to the zoo and a church and a museum. I'll show you some of that after I go over some of the things that I think can be helpful when you travel. Because, hindsight is 2020. As we travel and as we start to get older, you have to realize that your health starts to fade. We're more at risk of certain things. So there's some things that you can do to help ease your nerve or to be ready for an emergency the best that you can if it does happen. If you have a chronic illness, go visit your primary care physician. Let them know you're going out of the country, even if it's dormant or a medical condition you haven't had to deal with in years, and get medication in the event that you get sick. Example, I have asthma. I've had asthma all my life. Last asthma I had might have been about 12, 13 years ago. But I carry a nebulizer, antibiotics, prednisone. I carry quite a bit of medication just in the event of. Now, I'm not a person who checks luggage, so I only do my carry-on bag and a personal bag. But let me let you know that all airlines will allow you to carry a third bag if you have something like this attached. If everything that you have in that bag is for medical or to keep you healthy, and I don't mean lotion, keeping your skin from being ashy. I mean real medicine or apparatus is required in case of an emergency. From your CPAP machine, don't travel without it. If you need it, travel with it. But those things you can take along with you, carry them on the plane, and that is in addition to your carry-on and your personalized item. Another thing, if you are sick, postpone the trip. Don't go. Don't go being sick and think I'm going to get better in a couple of days. That's a recipe asking for disaster. This wasn't the case here. This was not a previous illness that she had. But don't travel if you're sick. Thing my sister did that was very helpful, and she had told me, I don't know if the universe was aligning to something happening, but like a couple of days before the incident happened, and she said all my medications are typed up on a card in my wallet if I were to ever get sick. My daughter knows that, and so now you know that. And I went in her wallet and pulled out the medications that she was taking, and so that was time saving in an emergency situation, and it was very helpful. So type out and print out and just put it someplace, and if you're traveling solo, have it someplace they can find it easy. If you're traveling with a partner or someone else, let them know where it is. Now, the first two locations that we were in that you saw in the last video, they were way out there, up in the mountains, way off the beaten path. That's the kind of travel I like. Like I said, I'm a little bit country. I don't want to be in a city. I've lived in a city all my life. If you're going to do that, and I know at some point that I may not be able to travel like that, but if you're going to do that, you need to have the emergency contact numbers handy. You need to know where the nearest hospital is, how long it's going to take you to get there, and if it's capable in making your decisions on where you're going to go. Are you able to get to a hospital if an emergency happens? A rattlesnake bite, breaking your femur, or something like that. You know, emergencies that, time counts. Can you get to someplace? I shared this story hoping that this helps a traveler, something that they weren't thinking of. I hope this helps. Now, going to continue to the rest of the video. Realize that the rest of the video is after the medical complications, so everything is going to be low-key. The zoo, the museum, things she can be in a wheelchair on. And I want to take this opportunity to thank you for listening, for your well wishes and your prayers. I also want to thank all the players at Nadia Resort. I want to thank Southern Regional Hospital, Belize Partnership. I want to thank them, the drivers, everybody. I hope I didn't leave anybody out, but you made this trip successful, and now it's a part of our journey. It's just something that happened, and we'll talk about it till we leave this earth. So, the rest of the program now, and thank you. Talk to y'all later. You see anything? Oh, him. It's the same.
It's the same kind of.
No excitement at all.
Oh, him?
Him again.
So, this is my niece. She came to join me. Say hi, niece. Hi.
I'm niece.
She's niece. She came to visit us while we were in Belize. Spider monkey. Spider monkey.
Yeah. You see Auntie LaShawn over here?
Oh.
Now they hear us.
Turn around and look at you.
You see, yeah,
Do not harass, and I'm over here harassing.
I'm waiting till you see it. You see it?
Wow. Now that's a monkey. Hey.
I like to be self-sufficient.
Ooh, 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 ooh. Look at the jaguar up in the cage right there. You see her? Or a leopard. He let them off already.
Get this going. Nice and manic. Alright. Get on.
Guidance to the afterlife because their soul would be so pure. So they would sacrifice them along with the ruler that dies so that he can follow their soul to the afterlife. You know, every culture has a different purposes, practices, and so forth, you know.
I would have to say here, I'm in awe. The more I travel, the more I realize, the more I don't know. These are Mayan temples representative of a culture thousands of years ago. This is not taught in history books. It's because history continues to be erased. The importance of people and civilizations continue to be erased. And that's what traveling does for me. It brings me in touch with realness, because they don't teach you everything in history books. They give you one version of a story. And when you visit some place like this, the same as in Egypt, the same as some of the places I've been in Ghana, all over the world, you get the story from the native individuals that's passed down, not developed by the colonizers to determine what the truth is.
Was also built by slaves. All the brick that the building is made out of came all the way from England. They used to bring these bricks as ballast when they were coming on the high seas. When they arrived at Belize, they found out that we had a lot of mahogany. They knew the value of mahogany, so they started leaving their bricks and taking back our mahogany as ballast. So guys, all the pews in here are made out of mahogany. Mahogany is our national tree here in Belize. Our cathedral is very active. We had a service today at 12 in our small chapel.